Hey, everybody. I am here. I'm so excited because one of my best friends in tennis is here. Well, just overall, Peter Freeman. How are you doing? How's your day going?
I'm doing great, bud. Happy New Year to you.
You too. Happy New Year. Very excited. You know, the new year always brings about fresh start, opportunities to prosper and reach for your goals and things like that. And so today I thought it very proper to speak with my friend Peter about how to conquer your tennis goals in 2025. So first off, I just want to ask you, Peter, for an evaluation of 2024, did you feel like it went well in terms of your goals that you set, and yeah, how do you evaluate that year?
I'm actually really happy with, I'm a coach, so my job is to make people better. And, based off a lot of feedback I got from so many of my students, when they go home, they really feel a lot of improvement. Their friends notice right away. So I personally feel like it was a great year for me coaching. And it's just a lot of rinsing and repeating, having good habits. We always want to start new habits in the new year. And I think it's a good idea to refresh. I mean, I'm already trying some new things out myself. So it's always a good idea to reinvent yourself, but it all goes back to rinsing and repeating at the same time.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. One of my goals last year was to do something with you in terms of teaching, and we did that with the doubles confidence camp. So that was super fun. But I'm sure like with you, certain metrics or goals that I hit, and then some things that I feel like I could have done better at. So that's what we'll focus on for today. I guess to start off, what do you think are some impediments or roadblocks to people getting reaching their goals? Because of course there's a lot of excitement in the new year, and then people kind of trail off. It's very natural. I've done it myself. I'm sure you've done it too, Peter, at some point, even though you're pretty much for perfect, but I'm sure it's happened. So what are some of these roadblocks?
Well, that's a good point. It shows that only 9% of people actually achieve their New Year's goals that they have for themselves. So you're 100% correct when you say a lot of people start out of the gates okay, and then things quickly fall apart. I think there's a lot of tools that people just don't have available to them. That's number one. So it takes a lot of willpower to do everything by yourself. So it's always good to have a mentor or a coach, if you can, to keep you on track, keep you accountable. And I think that we also set a lot of big goals that we're not sure we can achieve. They're kind of like mini dreams that we create every year. And I think that we give up on our dreams too early. The first sign of an obstacle, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be doing this because this seems like it's too hard. Maybe I'm not capable of doing this. Or you fall off for like a week or two. And then it just feels like impossible to get back on the bike. And that's another big mistake they make is, life will happen. There might be some weeks to whether it's something happened in your family, your job, your health, to where it is hard, almost impossible to work on the goals you set out for yourself. And that doesn't mean that you can't pick up where you left off or even have to go back a little bit and then continue forward. And I think that's another thing that stops people from really going for it.
Yeah, so many great points. I took notes on all of these on my computer. So I guess first off, with the lack of tools, how do we combat that? How can we find these tools?
Well, we've talked about this before. My favorite training book I've read by far in the last couple of years has been called The Talent Code. It's a book called The Talent Code. And what it looks at is the top achievers across a lot of different skills that people have developed that usually we admire, like music, golf, tennis, different things. And the guy discovered there was three things that were always involved, three ingredients that were always involved. Number one was ignition. Usually something happened within that community that they're like, wow, I can't believe one of us did this. Even Gigi Fernandez, I remember, she watched somebody that she played in college go to the US Open, and that was like her ignition. She's like, I almost beat her like last month or something. Now she's at the U.S. Open. Maybe I can do this. So that was an igniting moment for her. The second thing, and this is probably the biggest thing that's missing, and we'll go more into this, is something called deep practice. And the third ingredient you need is a master coach. And usually the master coach really needs to, first of all, show you how to do deep practice. Think of the Karate Kid, Mr. Miyagi, and also make sure you're doing it correctly and make sure you're sticking with it. So, and that's where I say it's sometimes hard to do everything 100% on your own, because even if you have these big goals, if you don't exactly know how to achieve them, and if you don't know if you're actually doing it right, it can, first of all, it can lead you down the wrong path. You might actually be doing it wrong, or you might not know if you're doing it right. So you're like, well, I don't really feel if I'm getting closer or not. I don't know. So then you also stop.
Got it. So yeah, that's clear pathway to mimic other people's success. That's really helpful, Peter. So I guess with the ignition, is it just kind of a matter of looking around your community or other players and whatnot, and just seeing like wow, they achieved this, and maybe like I know somebody who started really late as a 3-5 and now they're a 4 or 5, something like that. Is that kind of the technique for achieving that part of it?
Yeah, I mean, most people who are going to be watching this have some sort of ignition already. Otherwise, they wouldn't be tuning into a tennis podcast. That anybody who's listening to a tennis podcast usually is pretty passionate, pretty fired up, pretty motivated to find answers. That's why they're here looking. It doesn't hurt as well to, once the spark is lit, to have those daily reminders to watch your favorite player. Like one thing I just got excited about, I'm hot and cold on her. She's not absolutely my favorite, but I'm excited to see what Naomi Osaka is going to do this year, because uh, I'm impressed that she came back after she really didn't have to. She had so much money, and she really fought hard last year. But now this year, she even looks even better. She's way fitter, and I think she's changed her forehand a little bit. It looks like it's a little bit of a smaller shape, and she looks fired up. So that has me fired up. So I'm like, wow, I wonder what she's going to do this year. So it's always good to look at people that you respect and admire. To look at some of your, rather than being jealous of somebody in your team, like, oh my God, she just went undefeated this year. I'm kind of jealous of that. Don't be jealous of that. Go, wow, I can maybe do that too. I think that's another thing that happens is sometimes you have a pack, somebody separates themselves from the pack, and it can be a discouraging thing. Like, oh, look, how'd they get so good? And I'm still here. Go, no, well, if you were with them at one point, be happy for them, be excited for them. Maybe even talk to them and say, what have you done? How did you all of a sudden start winning all your matches? You might learn something. You're like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I was watching a tournament the other day, just a local one at JTCC in Maryland, and I saw some big servers there, and it really inspired me to practice my serve. Same thing, watching Paracard, and you're exactly right, because there's some days where I feel like, oh, how come I'm not making progress on it, this and that. But I think just keeping that positivity and realizing the possibilities of positive ones that can come about from hard work is the way to do it. In terms of deep practice, I was talking about this with my girlfriend Kate, and how we sometimes struggle with deep practice. So this is, like you mentioned, like one of the keys. You mentioned it not only as number two, but also with the master coach showing you how to do it. So what are maybe some tips or insights in terms of like how can we improve our deep practice element?
The number one thing, you don't want to be in a hurry.
Mm.
I even was giving a lesson last week. This guy is great. I love him. We hadn't done lessons together maybe 3 or 4 years, but now he just retired. He's a dentist, and he's one of my most passionate students I've ever coached. His name's Rob, and I just love him. And I was showing him something that he was doing on his serve, that if he stopped doing it and add this new move, his serve could be so big, because he's got all the makings of having a big serve. He is tall, lanky, probably like 6'3", but he doesn't have his elbow cross his body. He doesn't really coil up the right way. And
Mm.
so he's not able to unleash that into the ball. He got super fired up about that idea. And I gave him a chance to do it the traditional way, which was with the basket, at the baseline, and he's trying to do it. It's really not changing at all.
Mm.
And then I showed him, it was the end of the lesson. I'm like, okay, well, next time we meet, we're going to do these progressions. Do these progressions when you leave. I wouldn't do any more serving from the baseline because this is going to be too hard. And he listened to me. I said, okay, I got to go put my basket away. He had some of his own balls. I come back. He's trying the new quote unquote serve from the baseline. He's like, I just got to try this, and he's serving. And he's serving the same exact way, which is even worse because now he thinks he's doing something new, but he's doing the exact same old thing. And
Mm.
he's serving worse because he's thinking so much. And I just said to him, I'm like, Rob, I got to be honest with you. Your serve looks exactly the same. And I said, so if you're going to stay here and practice your serve, just practice your old serve and, continue to use your old serve in your next matches before we have a lesson. But I want to let you know that you're not doing anything new. And I can tell it's already making you serve worse because you think you're doing something new and you're focused on that. So you've got to embrace the processes that, you always want to do it in a hurry and do the whole dance. You got to think of everything you're learning like you're actually in a dance class. You just can't do the entire tango or salsa. You've got to learn the moves step by step. Tennis is the same. Any sport at a high level, it's the same.
Yeah, great points. Good. In terms of the master coach, I think this is a big one. Obviously, it's one of the three, but something that I think a lot of people just for some reason or another don't do. Maybe it's like they don't really feel like investing the funds or, taking the time to find the master coach. But I guess, I mean, how critical is this? Is there another way to go about it where you can still get similar results, or is it going to be slower? And just any general tips on the master coach that a lot of people don't have.
I think there's always outliers, right? There's always people that are very visual and very good at analyzing themselves. But that's not the norm. It might be less than 5% of people. So I think to do something at a higher level, it is important to have an expert who can really steer you in the right way with being able to see what you're doing. I'm even working with another guy, Jeff, virtually, and we're working on a serve. And, so often he'll tell me, he's like, I just would have never figured that out on my own. He's like, I've watched a lot of your videos. I've videoed myself serving. He's like, I didn't see that. And then I wouldn't know what to do next to fix it. And that's pretty cool that he can humble himself to realize wow, I wouldn't have got that. So I think that that's a big key is to put the ego aside. Many people listening to this are much smarter than I am, especially at their field. But when it comes to tennis, I know what I'm looking at and I know how to help people get out of their mistakes and what's the next thing to do. And so I think that it is important that whatever you're trying to get better at, if you can find somebody who is an expert at it, who can shortcut the process and keep you from making mistakes and going off track and doing an exercise in the wrong order that just takes you longer and messes you up more and frustrates you more, it is important to find that person.
Yeah, there's no substitute for that. It can save you so much time. Peter, you mentioned, and I just want to make sure I heard you right. Did you say that one of the reasons why people don't reach their goals is because they might have a goal that's too big? Is that what you mentioned, or did I hear that incorrect?
Well, it's not necessarily that it's too big. It's that I think at the beginning of every year, I don't know, I kind of do it. I create some mini dreams, like, man, if I could make this much money, that'd be great. If I could, get into this kind of shape, it would be great. If I could do this with coaching, it'd just be awesome. Right. And a lot of it is like very aspirational. Like I hope I can do this. And it's usually not smaller, like, oh, I could do that tomorrow. It's something that's going to take a while to do. And it's something that is also going to, at times, create an obstacle in front of you. Or like, I don't know if I can do it. And that's where a lot of people start going, I don't know. I don't think I can do it. I know I can do that, what I've been doing for months. And, that's good enough, whether it's, just going back to the weight or tray serve because it just gets the serve in play, or going back to eating what you're eating when you'd rather eat something more healthy, but you're like, well, it's too hard, and I'm going to eat this, and you know what? I look okay anyway. So those are the things that kind of we go back to when the rubber meets the road, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Um, so the big thing that I'd mentioned in the beginning is, and you also talked about or mentioned, is giving up on goals too early because of obstacles, and just like trying to rebound off of that. So as you mentioned, maybe like there's a family thing or like a unplanned, unforeseen circumstance, or maybe you just straight up felt kind of lazy one day and you didn't do what you'd planned. So I feel like also I think you mentioned people just beat themselves up and then they just stop. So I think that's such a crucial thing is to be able to bounce back, just like we try to bounce back from losing a match or something like that. So what tips do you have for us on being able to say, what, maybe I fell off but I can get back, because that's really a crucial element of all this.
Well, one thing I heard in passing one time, it's so funny how little things you hear stick with you forever. I got to teach tennis for a summer at Stanford University, and Dick
Cool.
Gould was the coach there. And I literally, I think, was getting a basket of balls, getting ready to go teach. And he was talking to his team. They're getting ready to go play a match. And he said, I want you guys to focus on the process and not the results. It's
Mm,
like if we do that, the results are going to take care of themselves. And I thought, man, that's so simple but so right, right? We go out there. What do we ultimately want as a tennis player? We want to win,
results. Yeah.
all right? We want the result. But if you do that, then we know lots of bad things can happen, right?
Yeah.
You're getting nervous. You're afraid to
Mm.
go for your shots. Um, your footwork gets lazy. Lots of things happen. But if you just go out there like, okay, all week coach has been having us focus on this and that, and I've been doing it great in practice. If you're like, if I can go out there and just make that my number one priority, whether I win, lose, or draw, there's a better chance I'm going to have a much better performance. And lots of times when you do that, the results do take care of themselves.
Yeah, great point, Peter. That's exactly the exact words that my college coach Keith Purrier told me. He's now coaching at Naval Academy, but he used to coach at UMBC, and he told me that after I had played my first collegiate match and ended up playing a buddy who I played in juniors with and was up, I think 6-2, 5-1, and then ended up losing. And so he told me you got to focus on the process, not the results, and definitely went a long way to help me when I remembered the advice anyway. So that's it's great stuff. Peter, we were chatting a couple days ago, and something that always excites me is when I see you doing challenges, because you do such a great job at them. And whether it's a 3-day or a 7-day or a 30-day, there's always great info on that. So I was wondering, you mentioned you have one coming up, so can you tell us what that one's all about?
Yes, I'm really excited. Well, the first thing I'm going to do, it's a two-step process. First thing we're going to do is just give everybody 100% free your best year ever blueprint. So they're going to get a page like this, and we're going to be focused on four things. So I did a survey, did a lot of research, and so people are really looking to improve their serve this year. They want to have better movement and fitness on the court. They want more consistency, and then they just want to feel more confident in their strategies and court positioning part of the game. So people can basically get that blueprint, and it's pretty cool because the blueprint is it's interactive with video. So it's got basically what you want to focus on, write-ups and tips, and then video links on how to improve in those four areas. And there's some great videos. Some of them are like 2 to 5 minutes long. I even got a video in there that's an hour long on mental stuff. So it's pretty good value there. But after that, if they're really wanting to get to the next level, because we talked about the master coaching and everything, and also just staying engaged in the process, not giving up. We talked about what are some goals. Well, one of my big goals this year is to get people to actually start and finish a challenge. I know that some people fall off because they just lose motivation, they lose focus. So I'm like throwing everything but the kitchen sink at people this year to get them to complete my 30-day best year ever challenge. First thing is they could just start for $1 and they can try it for 14 days for $1. That gives them plenty of time to decide if this is actually good, right? And if they decide it is good, then it's just a one-time payment, not a yearly payment. It's a one-time payment of $67, which is less than the cost of a tennis lesson. The other thing we're doing is we're setting goals every day to where if you're watching the video and being interactive with the video, I've never done anything like this before, they can basically choose what of the 4 areas they want to work on. So if they want to work on their serve, they can click a link and they can do that. If they want to work on their consistency, if they want to work on their fitness, and they want to work on their strategy, mental toughness, they click that and then they get to watch that training. Now, if they stay engaged in the training, there's going to be what I call Easter eggs in there. You don't know when they're going to pop up. And then I'll show up and say, hey, congratulations, you're still watching. You can score a point, even get free virtual coaching with me, which is kind of cool. So I'll be throwing some extra bonuses in there and prizes as well. Tennis Express gift cards, books, cool tennis towels, tumblers. So you want to watch every day because you're going to get to score points. Now, if you score the most points, well, let's go through first, second, third prize. Okay, so we'll go through third prize first. You can get a Sabre racket. Third
Sweet.
prize, you're getting a Sabre, because this is going to help you. We talked about consistency. Well, this has got like the smallest sweet spot, but this racket is also sweet. So you hit with that, you're going to definitely become a better tennis player. So that's third prize. It's about a $200 value. This is my favorite training aid, this fast track right here. So second prize, somebody's going to get a fast track that I'll send out to them. This is about a $400 value. This is, you can hit 1,200 balls in an hour and you can work on everything. And it is like having your own personal technique coach there too as well, and fitness coach. You can hit 1,200 balls in an hour. So if you actually hit for a full hour, you're going to be exhausted. And you can, it's like having a coach just hand feed you balls. Whenever you watch the pros work on something, this is where the master coaching comes in, really taking variables away and breaking things down to their simplest element. So even the pros who can return 100-mile-an-hour forehands, they'll have their coach pitch the ball underhand so they can really work on specific things, whether it's hitting targets, adding more spin, cleaning up a little bit of their technique. Fast Track's going to do that for you. And then the grand prize is the person who's really engaged and gets the most points through the challenge is going to have 2 days training with me, to where they'll come out, we'll train for 6 hours and 3 hours a day. Your train's on the house, your meals are on the house,
Wow.
and your hotel's on the house.
Whoa.
Yes. All you got to do is
crap.
get yourself out here. So like, I'm going, I don't know if anybody's ever done this much to get somebody focused on just doing their job, which is getting better at tennis.
Dang. You're always over delivering, Pete.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
I mean, that's what I want to be as a coach. I want to go, well, if you don't do it, you can't say I wasn't there with you every step of the way and giving you every opportunity to go for your tennis dream.
Yeah, 100%. And so I will definitely have a link to the best year ever blueprint for you all to check out. I'll house it at tennisfiles.com/2025 blueprint. And it also will be a link in the show notes page. So what is like the dates for people to to sign up for everything?
Well, we're recording this right now. I think it's January 2nd. I'm going to let people know about it next week. So starting January 6th, I think. And then we're officially going to get started on January 13th. There's only 500 participants allowed as well. So, and this is going to go out to a lot of people. First of all, my email list, I have 60,000 people. You've got a lot of people on your email list, and a couple more other people are going to be saying to that. So when you see it, do sign up right away, because I can only take 500 people with the software that we're using, because it's tracking all the participants who are in it. And every time that they engage with a video, they're going to score points. So this is not just a normal YouTube video software we're using. It's just not a normal point app that we have working. So it costs more money for me to run, and there's limits on, users and things like that. So we can only have 500 people in the challenge.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely don't wait. You might get shut out. I mean, Peter's stuff is so popular. Peter, wondering if maybe there's like one or two insights from the program that you put together that maybe you just think is like really valuable or cool, and maybe you could like reveal a little snippet of it or something like that that's in there.
Well, I think a couple of things. Number one is, at this time of year, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I wish this challenge was in April or June because it's too cold here." Well, every day, at least one of my training videos, sometimes all 4 of my training videos, you don't even need to leave the house to actually improve what you're doing. And you'd actually be better off staying inside your house than going out to the court. Just like I explained with that Rob example earlier, how he, like, I want to do the whole thing. Like, he literally would have been better off just filming himself doing the new move that I was showing him how to do and doing shadow swings than going back to the baseline and hitting baskets of serves. So that is probably the biggest thing I want you to be aware of. Is I don't want somebody to go, "Oh man, this is exciting, but why is he doing it in January? Because it's too cold. I can't go outside." Like, that's like the biggest mistake people make. So I think that that's something you're going to learn. And the other thing is the way that I've set it up is I do realize that staying on track is very difficult. So I thought, well, what can I do? Remember how we talked about ignition, so important. What can I do to get people fired up every day? So the people are going to be fired up about this challenge. Be like, yes, I get to watch another video. I get to score another point. Like I'm going to check out my leaderboard and see where I am. So they're going to know, okay, I'm one of the better ones that actually stay in focus and say, so it's going to build your mindset as well, which lots of times, as we know, Novak, he became a much different player once he simply believed that he could beat Roger and Rafa. And what did he do to create that belief? He changed his diet. And then he started to pick up some different train habits. And then he started to go, yeah, I'm doing this different now. I believe that I can now beat these guys. And so if you're like doing this train every day and you're like, yes, I'm staying on track. Yeah, I'm doing that. Oh, I did that drill. Oh, wow. I just discovered something new about my forehand or my serve. You're going to start to build up that self-confidence because you're staying on track and you're proud of yourself that you're doing the work. So these are the golden nuggets you're going to get out of the training.
That's great stuff. So some of the names I say might sound like foreign to people listening, but to your first point, I was reading an article about a very good former soccer player named Ian Wright, who plays for Arsenal Football Club, or he used to play for Arsenal. It was an English team, which is actually a rival club of my team that I like, Tottenham Hotspur. But anyways, what he said is that when he was younger, the way that he used to improve his soccer skills was actually with a tennis ball, like, because, for example, he wasn't that great kicking with his left foot, and so what he did was in his house, his parents' house, he got a tennis ball and just like kicked the ball against the wall just over and over again. And then his brother the next time said, "Well, your left foot skills have improved a lot, but you know what? Actually, your heading of the ball isn't so great." So then he got the tennis ball inside his house and he was heading the tennis ball on the wall. And so he improved his skills. I mean, like you talk about, sometimes we can just use, like a pen or a water bottle. So he's using even different objects than what he plays with, in soccer, a soccer ball, of course. But I read that earlier this morning. And obviously what you mentioned reminded me of what you can do, to improve just inside the house in the cold. So really like that lesson that you mentioned there, Peter. Yeah. So
I just want to before you go to your next thought, what you said just gave me a thought. In that book, The Talent Code, they looked at Brazil and they said, "Why are all these Brazilians so good at soccer?" And they actually played over there a game they called footy. which was with a
Mm.
smaller soccer ball,
Mm.
and I think it was maybe a little heavier too. And they played on a smaller field. So then their skills had to be, faster,
Yeah.
more accurate, all the things you're kind of talking about. And that was one of the things that they noticed that the coaches implemented into the training was they developed this game called footy, which they all played over there. And that's why they have been dominating soccer for, decades.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That's a great point. When you constrict the feel like that, it makes you have to go much quicker. And yeah, that's a cool insight. I really enjoy following soccer, and of course, tennis is number one for me. But yeah, Peter, no, I was just gonna ask, just in the spirit of goals in 2025, like if there's any goals or goal that that you have that you really want to accomplish this year.
Well, yeah, I mean, my biggest goal was always to become a better coach.
Mm,
So I just want to be more engaged with my students on and offline. So with this challenge, like it's not just like going through a normal challenge to where you're just going to be watching videos. You're interacting with the video, you're scoring points. There's going to be opportunities to get free virtual coaching with me, and if you want to continue to work with me, you can do that as well, and we can, transform your serve, your forehand, whatever we want to do together, and we meet together face to face. It's just not me looking at a video and saying it back to you. I do that, but so what I do, the way I do this virtual coaching is I'll send you back your analysis, and then I'll have a face-to-face meeting with you to make sure you understood what I taught you. And that's the big part, because a lot of times when I do have these meetings, like that guy Jeff said, he's like, I would have never got that on my own. He's like,
mm.
so I always show them, hey, this is the next step I want you to do. Send in the video, and then we set up another meeting. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of that. And then, as well as my on-court stuff, uh, coming out for the hyper focus camps, which are very technical. I want to do the doubles camp again with you,
Mhm.
and then we have the Cincinnati master class, and I'll also be offering some one-on-one trainings where people can come down for a couple of days and train with me. So it's really about engagement. Also within this 30-day challenge, one thing I hadn't mentioned yet is we're also going to be doing live interactive webinars or live coaching sessions together, to where people can come on and basically ask questions. I already have a ton of people's feedbacks and questions that are going to be in the live webinars, to where I'll basically say, hey, Rob and Jenny and Sarah and Mike, these are the questions they asked. I'm answering them. And then people can continue to ask questions. So we just want to make sure that people have access to me, just not watching my videos.
Awesome. Very exciting stuff. Um, I'm going to have to click pause record to ask you this question. Pause. Peter, can you rig the contest so that I can win it so we can do the 3-day thing?
Oh, I can't do, but you know what I will do for you? Because you did mention something like, what I'm going to do for Mehrban? If you come down for 2 days and we film it, I want to work on your serve. We're not going to hit, well, we can hit for fun, but we're not going to work on anything else. I'm not going to work on your volleys. I'm not going to work on your forehand.
Mm,
Nothing. We're
mm.
just going to get under the hood on that serve. We're not just going to do an hour, because I don't think that's enough time. I will help you with your serve if you're up for it.
I'm gonna book immediately. Yeah, I would love to do that. That'd be awesome. I really like Atlanta. Love hanging out with you, and still got to improve my serve. So that sounds like an incredible offer. Thank you, Peter.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. All right. Re-record now. Okay. No, that's cool. Awesome. Thank you, Peter. And yeah, just want to ask, Anna, you're a busy man. You got some tennis coming up, a lesson, I think it is. But just any last words of wisdom or advice or anything you want to tell the audience before we adjourn?
No, I think it's good to, one thing you asked me about was, are the goals too big? And there's this guy I like to watch. His name's Russell Brunson, and he read a book. The name of the book is escaping me, but it basically was about, what really holds people back is, number one, is just doing whatever it is you want to do. Whether it's, I'm going to go to the gym at 6, being at the gym and working out, I'm not saying it's easy, but usually it's way easier than when you're laying there in bed to get out of bed and to brush your teeth and to put your clothes on and get in the car and get to the gym. So what becomes big in your head is going, oh my God, I don't want to work out. No, you want to work out. You just don't want to get out of bed. Like, you know,
Yes.
so it's the idea of just constantly being able to do and accomplish. Again, that's why I set my challenge up the way it is. And he also said, if you have something that is a big goal, and the bigger the obstacles are, it usually is a sign that it's something you should be doing. It's something you should be doing. Where a lot of times we're like, I don't know if this is good
Mm,
for me. Because the bigger the goal, the bigger the obstacle in the way, if you're willing to keep facing that obstacle, the bigger the reward is on the other side.
such wise words. That's very inspiring, actually, to keep that in mind. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the bigger something is, like the less people are doing it, so that makes it a bigger prize. Love that. Good stuff, Peter. Well, everyone, definitely check out tennisfiles.com/2025 blueprint to pick up the best year ever blueprint from Peter, and definitely check out his challenge. He does a lot of great stuff. I've participated in them as well before and really enjoyed them. And yeah, just looking forward to all the content Peter is going to bring for us, and looking forward to also the summit. I'm going to be preparing for that very soon. And I just asked Peter to be my first coach on it, as I do every year. And he said, yes, I'm excited for that. But yeah, thank you, Peter, so much. I just wish everyone a very happy and healthy and prosperous 2025, and do your best to reach your goals. And if you fall back a little, that's okay. Just get back on the horse. And yeah, with that, thank you so much, Peter, and looking forward to talking with you again soon.
All right, Mehrban, best of luck to you this year.
You too, brother. Thanks.